Hello students, today we are going to start the first chapter from your syllabus, that is Introduction to Java. Students, in first year you have studied a programming language, that is C, and C is a procedural programming language. Procedural programming language means what? The building blocks of the program are the functions, or we can call them as what? The procedures. And every statement is included inside the function. For example, C program. Here the default function is the main function. It's compulsory function because execution of C program starts from main function. And the statements are included which are to be executed. Those are included inside this main function. We can write user-defined functions also, and we can include the statements into those user-defined functions. In second year, you have studied a programming language, that is the C++, which is an object-oriented programming language. Now, what is the object-oriented programming language? Here, the building blocks of the object-oriented programming programs are the classes and the objects. Here, first we need to define classes. Definition, or that is defining classes means what? We have to declare the data members into the classes. Here we can write here members, data members, and the functions, or we can call them as the member functions, which are going to access those data members. Those are declared and defined inside the classes. And we need to create the objects of those classes, and then we can use those objects in our program. This is the very basic concept of object-oriented programming language. And in third year, here we have to study a programming language, that is Java, which is also an object-oriented programming language. Now students, this C, C++, and again many more, these languages are existed. Then why there is a need of this Java? C++ is an object-oriented programming language. Then why there is a need of this another object-oriented programming language, that is the Java? That we will see here. When any C program or C++ program, it is to be executed, first of all, it is to be compiled. Why there is a need of compilation? Because we know that the C and C++ language is a high-level programming language which can be understood by humans only. It cannot be get understood by computers. Okay? Because we know that computers knows the language of ones and zeros only, and that is called as what? The machine code. So, the program which is written in any programming language, that is to be converted into the machine code, which is get understood by our computer system, and then the instructions are get executed. Now for example, suppose in C program we have written one statement, that is x is equals to y plus z. this statement is to be executed. So first of all, compiler will convert it into machine code. So how it will convert into machine code? See, for example, for this, that is the addition. Here the code is 0, 1. Then the first operand is get stored in a register, a register, suppose its code is suppose 1. And second operand is get stored in a memory location, and that memory location's address is suppose that is 101, whatever it may be. Okay. And the result is get stored in the A register, suppose. Now this is the machine code for the given instruction x is equals to y plus z, which is in terms of ones and zeros only. Understand? And then it will be get recognized by our computer system and get executed, and we get the result. But students, remember, in previous year in electronics you have studied microprocessors. We have studied the different architectures of the processors. In that you have gone through that these instruction set changes from processor to processor. That means a machine code which is get executed on one processor, it may not be get executed on another processor having different architecture. Why? Because the instruction set changes from processor to processor, and hence we can say that the programs are not portable one. Okay, so here we can say that the C and C++ languages are not portable one, because a program which is written and executed on one system, it cannot be get executed on another system having the different configuration without compilation. And with the emergence of World Wide Web, it is demanded that the programs should be portable one, because in World Wide Web the programs are get access through the network, and they are to be get executed on any machine having any configuration. So that's why there is a need that programs are to be portable one. And to fulfill this need, a language is get evolved. That language is the Java, which is an object-oriented programming language. Here in 1995, James Gosling and other researchers at Sun Microsystems, they have invented one object-oriented programming language, and initially it is known as Oak, and afterwards it is renamed as what? Java. Here this Java, it comes with the Java Development Kit. You can call it as a JDK, that is the Java Development Kit. This Java Development Kit includes various tools. Using those tools, the Java programs are get executed. You can write the Java programs and we can execute the Java programs. And here you can see there are different versions of JDK. That is up to 1.2, JDK 1.2. It is known as JDK, and after that the versions of Java, they are called as Java 2. Java 2 or J2SE. J2SE. That is Java 2 Standard Edition. So this is the history of Java. Then there are 3 editions of Java. Java Standard Edition, Java Enterprise Edition, Java Micro Edition. There are 3 types of programs of Java. Client-side applications, those are called as what? The applets. Then server-side programs, those are called as what? Servlets. And the mobile applications of wireless applications. So we can use Java programming language for writing these types of programs. That is, the standalone applications are also there, client-side applications are there, server-side programs are there, and that is the mobile applications or wireless applications are there. So to develop standalone or client-side application programs, those are called as the applets. Those programs we can develop using Java Standard Edition. Then Java Enterprise Edition, it can be used to develop server-side programs or servlets. And third one, that is the Java Micro Edition. It can be used for developing mobile applications and wireless applications. Okay. Now let us turn towards the features of Java. There are different features of Java programming language. In that, the first one, that it is a simple one. Java programs are simple, as the complex concepts like pointers and operator overloading, which are get supported by a C++ programming language, those are get avoided or omitted in Java. So that's why programs written in Java, those becomes what? The simple one. Then it is an object-oriented programming language, and it is an object-oriented programming language, but it is a pure object-oriented programming language. Whereas C++ is not a pure object-oriented programming language. Why Java is called as a pure object-oriented programming language? Because all the member functions should be the members of the classes. All the functions should be the members of the classes, even the main function. That main function is also a member function of any class. Whereas in C++, we can write member functions as well as the functions, those are stand alone. that means they are not included inside the any class. They are not member functions of any class. Okay. This is the main difference in between the C++ object-oriented programming language and that is the Java object-oriented programming language. Then second thing is that it is a multi-threaded. Now, what is multi-threading concept first of all? Suppose there is one task T and it is divided into multiple subtasks. That is suppose T1, T2, T3 suppose. And these subtasks are get executed parallelly. Then obviously it will increase the total throughput of the system. Means what? Throughput means what? It's a work done in a unit amount of time. That work done will be get increased. That task will be get executed in a less amount of time. And this concept is called as what? Multi-threading. Here we have divided this task into the subtask. Okay, and there will be a separate process that is responsible for execution of these subtasks. And those processes are called as what? The threads. These are the lightweight processes. Or simply here you can remember those are called as what? Threads. Okay, and these threads will be get executed independently and parallel. And in this way, that task will be get executed in a less amount of time. So that Java language, it supports the multi-threading concept and that's why it's a high performance language. It increases the performance of the system as it uses the concept of multi-threading. Next, that is it is a distributed one. Another property we can say that it's distributed. Now these Java programs are distributed and they can be accessed via the network. Then next property is the robust one. Now Java programs are robust. Means what? The runtime errors are reduced in Java while execution of the Java programs. But how these runtime errors are get eliminated? As Java omits the concept of pointers, then it supports the garbage collection. That means the memory which is allocated dynamically at runtime, those memory are get collected automatically, and that is called as what? The garbage collection. Collected means that is get freed automatically after the execution of the program, so that another programs can use those memory. So that's why here the runtime errors are get reduced in Java, so it is a robust one. Then next one is a secure. See here, whenever any program or any data is to be accessed via the network, then security is the main issue. And Java supports that is the security by implementing various protocols, network protocols. So that's why it is what the secure one. Then it's Java programs are the architectural neutral. They are architectural neutral. We have discussed it in previous topic that Java language is the portable language. Source program is there which is written in Java. Then it is given to the compiler. Compiler converts it not directly into the machine code, but it converts into what? An intermediate code that is called as the byte code. It's an intermediate code. It's not the machine code, it is near to the machine code. That's why it is called as the intermediate code. And this byte code is given to the interpreter. And that interpreter converts it into the machine code and executes it immediately. That instruction is get executed immediately. Are you getting the difference in between the compiler and interpreter? What is compiler and what is the interpreter? Now see, compiler and interpreter both are the system programs and they are used to convert. The task of both of them is what? The compiler converts the source program into the machine code and then that machine code is get executed. And interpreter, it takes one instruction at a time, interprets it, means it finds out its meaning and immediately executes it. Okay, so this is the execution flow of any Java program. Source program, it is given to compiler, then compiler converts it into a byte code. That byte code is a intermediate code. And then that byte code is given to the interpreter, that is the Java interpreter is there. Okay, and that Java interpreter, it takes one instruction at a time, interprets it and immediately executes it. And finally, we get what? The output of a program. Okay, and so that's why here the Java program is a portable one. A system, your Java program is get compiled and whatever the compiled code that can be get executed on any machine which contains a Java interpreter, or we can call it as what the Java virtual machine JVM is there. This JVM is what? That it is a Java virtual machine which is with the Java interpreter and it gives us what? Output. Here there is no need to compile that program again on another system. Okay, and that's why Java language is the portable one, or it is an architecture neutral. Okay, then portable and dynamic we have already discussed about it, and finally it is a interpreted. Java programming language is what? Interpreted. It requires an interpreter, Java interpreter, which finds out the meaning of each statement and immediately executes it. So these are the features of Java. So students, today we have seen, in this lecture we have seen how Java is get evolved, what is the need of Java. Then afterwards, we have seen the evolution of Java. Then we have seen the additions of Java. And afterwards, we have seen the features of Java. If in case if you have any difficulty, then we will solve that difficulty at doubt session. Thank you very much.